Hey there, thank you so much again for joining me on this channel. As always, I'm very grateful for all your previous views, likes, subscriptions and shares. I owe you a massive apology because I didn't post last week. Unfortunately, I was feeling unwell and really irritating. It was also World Religions Day. It is great to be back though in a room which is increasingly getting darker. I don't quite know why. I guess I need to buy some more ring lights or something. But anyway, what should we do today? I thought we'd have a look at some movies, and one of my favourites I like to use in class is one called Risen from 2016. I should say I wasn't feeling great this week either, so I just want to manage your expectations here. You're very good at doing that anyway. I've set the bar low for this channel, so expect it to be a lot lower for today. If you are watching for the first time, and you're still watching, thank you very much indeed. But just to let you know, when I talk about movies in depth, I do talk about plots and some significant moments. So just want to give you a heads up on that one. Now, Risen is part of the Sony Corporation, as in they make the TVs and the PlayStation. But also it's another little company, film company called Affirm. And they set that up in 2007 specifically to make faith-based movies, movies aimed especially at the Christian market, and Risen is just part of that family of films. You will know from some of my previous posts I've explored sort of religious figures in the movies, and it's obviously a lot of money to be made from it as well. The movie is directed by Kevin Reynolds, and probably his most famous work is from 1991, where he directed the Kevin Costner epic Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. That's right, the Texan actor Kevin Costner plays the eponymous hero Robin Hood, and probably one of the most famous moments is when he lands on the south coast of England with his friend Morgan Freeman at the White Cliffs of Dover, walks along Hadrian's Wall and gets to Nottingham all in one day. Where is the maid, Marion? Oh, I think I misspelled his name. The movie is set in 33 AD in Roman-occupied Palestine, and the main character is Clavius. He is a Roman tribune, a senior officer in the Roman army, played by Joseph Fiennes. He's ruthless and ambitious. At the start of the movie, we see him quelling a Jewish uprising. He's loyal to the Roman god Mars, and he's not particularly enjoying his time here in the hot, dusty, dry end of the back of the Roman Empire. He is told by Pontius Pilate, played by Colin Firth, to go and look at the crucifixion of Jesus. This is, of course, Jesus of Nazareth. At the crucifixion, he ensures that the side of Jesus is pierced, as it says in the Gospels. And this is where the movie starts to go into territory which isn't exactly biblical. And that's an interesting point in itself. It's something I like to play around with. Just because a movie has scenes that are fictionalized or created outside of what's described in a holy book, does that mean it's still relevant? Is it any way disrespectful? Or can you still do that and hold up the core values and meanings of a particular religion? Something which I think the movie does do quite effectively is it shows the tension, the problems of the Romans trying to keep order in their empire. And so another sort of level to it is the Pharisees, the Jewish leaders of the time. They're really worried about the teaching of Jesus undermining their authority and their religion. And of course, the Romans just want to keep the peace. So it is made sure that the tomb of Jesus, as he's buried, is of course guarded. But spoiler alert, and to be honest, there is something about this in the title of the movie. He's not in his tomb anymore after 3 days. There's actually quite a curious moment where Clavius goes into the tomb, and he actually has a look round to see that yes, the tomb is empty and Jesus isn't in there, and he picks up the shroud of Turin. It's a slightly oddly comical moment because it does jar, I think, with the tone of the film in some ways, which I think in one level is trying to be quite serious, but on another level this little moment does sort of take us out of the moment. But I think what is interesting is that if you're not familiar with the Shroud of Turin as an object, it really is quite an impressive thing, and it is worth investigating and looking at in your own time. Or maybe that's something I could do for another video if you want me to. It's interesting too how throughout the movie Jesus is referred to in the Hebrew name Yeshua, which is actually what it would have been done at the time. And I think that's quite helpful. I think another thing as well is about the actor who plays Jesus, Cliff Curtis. He spent a lot of time trying to get in character. I know that sounds, when actors do that, a little bit pious and perhaps a little bit over the top, but I think it just shows you how seriously actors take their craft. What Cliff Curtis did is that he went and lived on his own on the island of Malta for a month. He didn't talk to anyone. He lived effectively a monastic lifestyle and had very simple meals. And he said it got him into that sort of frame of mind. And he said he would meditate and sit in silence for hours. I was really drawn to a quote by Cliff Curtis about playing Jesus. And he says this: "It was a miracle. I just thought I wasn't fair complexioned enough to get the role, and I needed blue eyes." And I think that says something quite profound about how Jesus has been portrayed throughout history, in artwork, in movies and so forth. The westernization, the European Jesus with the blonde hair and the blue eyes. And I think that is a really profound statement actually about how westernized Jesus has become for someone who was born in the Middle East. Another aspect of the movie is the character of Mary Magdalene, and she's very well played by Maria Bottas, but I think her role again deviates from what's in the Gospels. She's portrayed in the movie Risen as someone who works as a prostitute, even though there is no biblical or indeed historical evidence for that at all. Again, one of the reasons why I like to use this movie in class is because that's a really interesting point. Does it undermine the integrity of the movie when it takes a character who is known in the Gospels and then changes their story so dramatically? What's dramatic license? What is disrespectful? Does it matter at all? It's one of those things where I think people have lots of different opinions. And being honest with you, when I watch the movie, my opinion changes sometimes on all these things. And I think that's okay as well. I've already mentioned him before, but Peter Firth plays Pontius Pilate. And actually, I have to say, he's actually my favourite actor in this particular movie and my favourite role. He really puts across the tension of trying to hold together an empire, keeping the peace, the bureaucracy and all the hassle and burden of leadership. I think as well too, you can see how he's burdened as well with the fact that he crucified Jesus, or the Nazarene as he's referred to by him. There's actually another scene very briefly where he washes his hands again, and that's quite powerful. If you are interested, there's also a link to some resources on this movie. They are free because you wouldn't want to pay for them, would you? And hopefully they might be of some use to you. In the meantime, I'll make sure I try and do something a little bit better for next week. I am very, very grateful for all your continued support, and enjoy your learning.